The Deep Space Monitoring Station on Luna Base picked up the signal at exactly 3:47 a.m. Earth Standard Time. It wasn't like anything they had seen before, a repeating pattern that moved against the background noise of space in ways that defied natural occurrence. The computers flagged it immediately, and within minutes, Captain James Miller was pulled from his sleep by the urgent beeping of his communication device. "Sir, you need to see this," said the young operator on duty. His voice trembled slightly, knowing the importance of what they had just discovered. The pattern. It's artificial. Miller didn't waste time. He threw on his uniform and made his way through the stark white corridors of Luna Base to the monitoring station. The massive screens covering the walls showed different visualizations of the signal, wave patterns, spatial coordinates, and energy readings. It was beautiful in its complexity, yet terrifying in its implications. They weren't alone anymore. "How many sources?" Miller asked, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "7 distinct signatures, sir. They're moving in formation toward the outer solar system." The operator pulled up a tactical display showing the object's trajectory. "Current speed suggests they'll reach Pluto's orbit in approximately 6 hours. Miller nodded, then pressed his palm against the security scanner on the central console. A new screen appeared, displaying a single red button. He had trained for this moment for 20 years, but he never truly believed he would need to do it. He pressed the button. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden defensive grid hummed to life. Weapons platforms that had been disguised as asteroids powered up their systems. Stealth satellites activated their sensors. On Mars, Neptune, and various moons throughout the system, underground bases began deploying their forces. Earth had been preparing for this moment for over a century. The International Space Defense Force's main fleet emerged from its hidden docks within Ceres. 50 ships, each a masterpiece of human engineering, moved into defensive positions. Captain Miller watched as Admiral Thomas Reed's flagship, the ISDF Vigilant, took the lead. "Send the preliminary scan data to Earth Command," Miller ordered, "and get me a direct line to Admiral Reed." The Admiral's hologram appeared in the center of the command room. He looked as calm as ever, his gray hair and weathered face showing the experience of decades in service. "They're earlier than we expected," Reed said, a slight smile playing on his lips. "Status of the grid. All systems operational, sir. The dummy defense grid is also in place. They'll see exactly what we want them to see." This was humanity's first layer of deception. The visible defensive systems were intentionally primitive, exactly what an emerging spacefaring race should have. The real defenses lay hidden, waiting. The alien ships entered the solar system exactly as predicted. They were massive, gleaming vessels that moved with impossible grace. The Empire's scout fleet, humanity's intelligence suggested, though they had never seen them in person until now. Miller watched as the alien ships approached Neptune. They slowed down, presumably scanning the system. The first test was about to begin. "They're broadcasting," the communications officer announced. "Standard Imperial greeting protocol, just as our deep space intercepts indicated." The message played through the command center speakers. A calm, slightly mechanical voice spoke in perfect English. "Greetings, inhabitants of Sol System. We represent the Galactic Empire, a peaceful coalition of civilizations. We come seeking diplomatic contact." Admiral Reed's hologram nodded to Miller. "Time to show them our first card, Captain. Deploy the Outer System Response Fleet." Miller gave the command, and 20 ships of Earth's primitive space force moved into view of the Imperial Scouts. They were carefully designed to look advanced enough to be taken seriously, but not so advanced as to reveal humanity's true capabilities. The Empire's ships halted their approach. For several long moments, nothing happened. Then the Imperial fleet adjusted its formation, a defensive pattern. They hadn't expected even this level of response from Earth. "They're scanning our ships," the sensor officer reported. "Their energy readings just spiked." Let them look, Miller said, knowing that everything they saw was exactly what humanity wanted them to see. The real show hasn't even started yet. The first move in humanity's carefully planned game of deception was complete. Now they would wait to see how the Empire would respond to finding a civilization that wasn't as primitive as they had expected. Behind his professional demeanor, Miller allowed himself a small smile. The Empire had no idea what they were walking into. 2 days after first contact, Admiral Thomas Reed stood in the grand meeting hall of the Lunar Diplomatic Center. The room, with its high dome showing the stars above through transparent aluminum, had been built for this exact purpose decades ago. Earth's first official meeting with alien life would happen here, far from the planet they were determined to protect. The Imperial delegation arrived in a small shuttle, escorted by Earth's primitive ships. High Commander Dax led them, a tall figure in flowing silver robes. The aliens' blue-tinted skin and elongated features marked them as different, but their body language showed the universal signs of authority and pride. "Welcome to Luna Base," Reed said, standing straight in his formal black uniform decorated with the golden insignia of Earth's combined forces. "I trust your journey through our system was educational." Dax's translator converted the words instantly. "Indeed, Admiral. Your system's defenses are unexpected for a civilization at your stage of development." There was a hint of something in those words. Confusion, perhaps concern. Reed allowed himself a small smile. "About that, we need to have a serious discussion about Earth's position regarding the Galactic Empire." The meeting room's holographic systems activated, displaying a three-dimensional map of known space. But instead of showing just the solar system, it revealed hundreds of star systems, including many that the Empire considered their territory. Dax's eyes widened slightly. "This is your territory," Reed said, gesturing to the red-colored systems. "And these," he pointed to several dozen blue dots scattered throughout the map, "are human colonies and outposts we established over the last 50 years. The Imperial delegation burst into confused whispers. One of Dax's advisors stepped forward. "Impossible. You don't have faster-than-light technology. Our scans." "Your scans showed exactly what we wanted them to show," Reed interrupted. He pressed a button, and the image changed to show Earth's true defensive capabilities. Hidden stations, advanced weapon systems, and fleets of ships that had remained undetected by Imperial sensors appeared across the map. "Humanity has been aware of the Empire's existence for over 70 years, Reed continued. "We intercepted your communications, studied your technology, and prepared accordingly. While you thought you were discovering us, we were studying you." Dax's composure cracked slightly. "The Empire has brought peace and prosperity to thousands of worlds. We could offer Earth." "With all due respect, High Commander," Reed cut in, "Earth isn't interested in joining your empire. We've seen how you integrate civilizations, how you gradually strip away their independence while calling it cooperation. Earth has chosen a different path." The Admiral walked to a large window overlooking the lunar surface. Earth hung in the black sky, beautiful and blue. "This is our formal warning. Earth and its colonies will remain independent. Any attempt to force us into your empire will be met with consequences." "Is that a threat, Admiral?" Dax asked, their voice cool. "Not a threat. A promise." Reed turned back to face them. "We've prepared for possible first contact for centuries. Every movie about alien invasions, every book about galactic empires, they weren't just entertainment. They were preparation. Humanity has spent generations thinking about how to defend itself against advanced civilizations." He pressed another button, and the hologram showed a demonstration. A small Earth ship appeared, using technology the Empire had never seen before. It disabled an Imperial destroyer's systems without destroying the ship, using principles of quantum entanglement that the Empire's scientists hadn't even theorized. "We don't want war," Reed said softly. "We're offering friendship, trade, and diplomatic relations as equals. But we will not be subjects." The room fell silent. Dax studied the human admiral for a long moment, seeing not a primitive species representative, but an equal who had outmaneuvered them before they even knew the game had begun. "The Empire," Dax said slowly, "will need to discuss this unexpected situation." Reed nodded. "Take all the time you need. Earth has been patient for centuries. We can wait a bit longer for your answer." As the Imperial delegation left to report back to their superiors, Reed watched Earth shining in the black sky. Humanity's message had been delivered. Now they would see how the Empire would respond to finding out they weren't the most advanced civilization in this part of the galaxy after all. The Imperial Council chamber on the capital world of the Empire buzzed with angry voices. 12 council members sat around a massive table made from glowing crystal, their faces lit by the soft blue light. High Commander Dax stood in the center, finishing their report about Earth. "These humans," said Council Leader Marcus, his aged face twisted in confusion. "They knew about us all along, and they built colonies right under our noses." Dax nodded. The memory of Earth's revelation still bothered them. "Their stealth technology is unlike anything we've seen. They developed it specifically to hide from our sensors." General Rex, the military leader, slammed his fist on the table. The crystal rippled with red light at the impact. "This is unacceptable. No primitive world should be able to spy on the Empire. We should send in the main fleet now, before they grow stronger." "And risk war with an enemy we don't understand?" asked Science Director Lisa, her voice calm but firm. She touched a control panel, and a hologram of Earth's quantum weapons appeared above the table. "Look at how they think. While we focused on expanding our empire, they focused on defending their home. They took a completely different path of development." The council members watched as the hologram showed Earth's defense systems, hidden bases in asteroids, weapons that could shut down Imperial ships without destroying them, and technology that seemed to break the laws of physics as the Empire understood them. "Their isolation made them stronger, not weaker," Dax explained. "They never had to follow our rules of scientific development. They found their own ways to solve problems." A younger council member leaned forward. "But surely they can't match our numbers. The Empire spans thousands of worlds." "Numbers mean nothing if our ships can't fight," General Rex growled. He played a recording from their scout fleet's encounter with Earth's forces. "Look at this. Their weapons don't just disable our ships. They turn our own power systems against us. We've never seen anything like it." Science Director Lisa stood up and walked to the central hologram. "That's what makes them so dangerous. We don't understand how most of their technology works. They developed it in secret, testing it against our best defenses without us even knowing." The council chamber grew quiet as everyone thought about what this meant. The Empire had always brought new civilizations into their fold through a mix of diplomacy and subtle threats. But Earth had changed the game. They couldn't threaten a civilization that had spent centuries preparing for exactly that. "There's something else," Dax said, their voice heavy. "We found evidence that Earth has been helping other worlds develop similar technologies. Quietly, secretly, they've been creating a network of independent worlds that can resist Imperial control." The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Council Leader Marcus raised his hand for silence. "You mean they're actively working against the Empire's expansion?" "They call it preserving independence," Dax replied. "Earth believes every civilization should have the right to choose its own path. They're not building an empire. They're creating a shield wall against ours." General Rex stood up, his face dark with anger. "Then we have no choice. We must strike now. Before." "Before what?" Science Director Lisa interrupted. "Before they reveal how many of our loyal worlds they've already contacted. Before they show everyone in the Empire that resistance is possible." She shook her head. "A direct conflict with Earth would be disastrous." Council Leader Marcus rubbed his temples. In all his years leading the Empire, he had never faced a situation like this. "What are our options?" Dax touched another control, showing Earth's diplomatic proposal. "They're willing to establish peaceful relations. Trade, cultural exchange, diplomatic ties, but as equals, not subjects. And if we refuse? Someone asked. Then we risk something worse than war, Lisa said quietly. We risk showing the entire galaxy that the Empire isn't as powerful as everyone believes. Earth has already proven they can operate freely in our territory. How many other worlds might follow their example? The council chamber fell silent again. The Empire faced a choice: accept a new power as an equal, or risk everything trying to maintain their image of absolute control. And somewhere out there, Earth was watching, waiting to see what they would decide. The Imperial diplomatic fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system exactly 1 week after the council meeting. 50 warships, their hulls gleaming in the distant sunlight, moved in perfect formation. They called it a diplomatic mission, but everyone knew it was meant to be a show of force. Dr. Emma Roberts stood in the control room of Defense Station Alpha, hidden inside an asteroid near Jupiter. Her life's work was about to be tested. Behind her, teams of technicians monitored banks of computers that controlled Earth's quantum defense grid. Imperial fleet is approaching Jupiter's orbit, reported the radar officer. They're maintaining attack formation. Admiral Reed's voice came through the communication system. Dr. Roberts, are your systems ready? Yes, Admiral. She checked her displays one last time. The quantum nets are charged and waiting. Would you like me to explain to our Imperial friends exactly what's about to happen to them? Reed's chuckle was dry. Please do. Open a channel to their flagship. The main screen lit up, showing the Imperial fleet commander. He wore a uniform covered in medals, his face stern and confident. This is Fleet Commander Voss of the Imperial Navy. Your system is now under Imperial protection. Disable your defensive systems and prepare for integration into the Empire. Emma stepped into view of the camera. This is Dr. Emma Roberts of Earth's Defense Science Division. We'd like to give you a demonstration of why that would be a very poor decision. She pressed a button on her console. Around the Imperial fleet, space itself seemed to ripple. Quantum entanglement fields, invisible until activated, sprang to life. You see, Emma continued, her voice calm and teacher-like, we've spent centuries thinking about how to defend against advanced alien civilizations. We ask ourselves, what if we couldn't match their firepower? What if we had to find a different way? The first wave of quantum effects hit the Imperial ships. Their engines sputtered and died. Emergency lights flickered on across their hulls. Traditional weapons tried to destroy their targets, Emma explained. We thought differently. Why destroy when you can simply disable? She touched another control. Your ships are now quantum locked with our defense grid. Your energy systems are being redirected. In simple terms, we've turned your own power against you. On the screen, Fleet Commander Voss's face had lost its confidence. Behind him, alarms blared. What is this technology? Our readings don't make sense. Of course they don't, Emma said with a smile. We developed it specifically to work against Imperial systems. Those signals you detected from Earth over the years. Each one taught us more about your technology. Each scan you made of our system gave us more data about your capabilities. Through the view screen, they watched as the mighty Imperial fleet drifted helplessly in space. Not a single shot had been fired, yet Earth had won completely. Don't worry, Emma assured them. The effect is temporary. Your ships will regain power in exactly 1 hour. We could make it permanent, but that wouldn't be very diplomatic, would it? Admiral Reed stepped into view. Consider this a practical demonstration of Earth's defensive capabilities. Commander Voss, we could have done this at any time since you entered our solar system. We chose to wait and show you exactly what you're dealing with. Voss's face had turned pale. The Council, they need to see this. They will, Reed said. We're transmitting full sensor data of this demonstration to Imperial High Command right now, along with some interesting files showing how we developed this technology. Your scientists might find it educational. Emma watched as the Imperial crew struggled to understand what had happened to them. Their mighty warships, pride of the Empire, hung powerless in space, defeated not by superior firepower, but by humanity's unique approach to defense. "Oh, and one more thing," she added. "This is just one of our defensive systems. We have others, each designed to counter different threats. I do hope we won't need to demonstrate those as well." The Empire's show of force had turned into a demonstration of their own vulnerabilities. As Emma looked at the disabled fleet, she couldn't help but feel proud. Humanity had proven that sometimes the best way to win a fight was to change the rules of engagement completely. Commander William Stone walked through the hidden corridors of Deep Space Station Echo, located in what the Empire had always thought was just another lifeless asteroid belt near their outer territories. The station's walls were covered with screens showing data streams, Imperial fleet movements, communication intercepts, and trade routes. Today, he was giving a tour to a special group of visitors. The Imperial inspection team followed him, their eyes wide as they saw just how much humanity knew about their civilization. "This is our main monitoring hub," Stone explained, entering a vast circular room. "We've been watching the Empire for decades from stations like this one. You never found us because we built these facilities using materials that don't show up on Imperial scans." The lead Imperial inspector, a tall figure named Trent, stopped in front of a large display showing hundreds of Imperial ships. "These are our current fleet positions, all of them." "How is this possible?" Stone smiled. "Your ships leak quantum signatures when they used faster-than-light travel. We learned to track these leaks. Every time you thought you were discovering new territory for the Empire, we were watching." He led them to another section of the room. Here, screens showed transmissions from various Imperial worlds. "We broke your encryption codes years ago. Not by force. We simply watched and listened until we understood them. Your civilization broadcasts so much information, thinking no one else could understand it." One of the Imperial scientists in the group stepped forward. "But the energy needed to maintain stations this far from Earth." "Ah," Stone said, touching a panel on the wall. A hologram appeared, showing a network of hidden energy collectors near stars throughout Imperial space. "We built these first, disguised as natural phenomena. They power everything we do out here. Your own scientists discovered some of them, but they thought they were looking at strange astronomical events." The Imperial team moved from screen to screen, their faces showing a mix of shock and admiration. They saw maps of Imperial defense systems, detailed analyses of their technology, and even predictions of their military strategies. "Yesterday's demonstration wasn't just about showing our defensive capabilities," Stone continued. "It was about showing you that we understand how your civilization thinks and works. We know your strengths, your weaknesses, and your habits." He led them to a final room, smaller than the others. Inside, a single screen showed Earth, peaceful and blue. "This is why we did all this. Everything you've seen today. The monitoring stations, the stealth technology, the energy collectors. It was all to protect our home." Trent stared at the image of Earth. "Your people spent generations building all this, just to stay hidden and independent. Wouldn't you?" Stone asked. "If you knew there were older, more powerful civilizations out there, wouldn't you want to be prepared? We chose isolation because it gave us time to develop our own path, our own technologies." He brought up another display, showing the locations of other hidden stations throughout space. "What you're seeing here is just one station. We have others, each with different purposes. Some gather intelligence. Some monitor specific threats. Some do things I'm not authorized to tell you about." The Imperial team fell silent, finally understanding the full scope of humanity's preparation. Their empire, which had thought itself the master of this part of space, had been watched and studied like specimens in a laboratory. "Your empire values strength," Stone said, his voice serious. "That's why we're showing you all this. Not to threaten, but to help you understand. Earth isn't just another world you can add to your territory. We're a civilization that chose to grow strong in secret, precisely so we could have this conversation as equals. As the Imperial team prepared to leave, Stone heard them talking among themselves. They had come expecting to evaluate a primitive civilization's defenses. Instead, they had discovered that humanity had turned their entire empire into an unwitting source of intelligence. "Commander," Trent said before leaving, "your people are either the most paranoid species we've ever met, or the wisest." Stone smiled. "Maybe a bit of both. After all, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they aren't out to get you." High Commander Dax stood alone in their private chambers aboard the Imperial flagship, watching recordings of Earth's defensive demonstrations. The quantum weapon display, the revealed monitoring stations, and now this latest report. It all painted a picture they couldn't ignore. A soft chime announced an incoming transmission from the Imperial Council. The wall-sized screen lit up, showing all 12 council members. Their faces looked tired after hours of emergency meetings. "High Commander," Council Leader Marcus spoke first, "you've seen the latest data from Earth." "Yes," Dax replied, turning to face the Council. "They just activated their automated defense platforms throughout our space. Platforms we never knew existed. They could shut down transportation across half the Empire if they wanted to." General Rex's face turned red with anger. "We cannot allow this. The Empire must." "Must what?" Science Director Lisa interrupted. "Must start a war we might not win, against an enemy that knows every move we'll make before we make it." The council chamber fell silent. On another screen, Dax pulled up the latest intelligence. Earth had revealed a network of automated defense systems hidden throughout Imperial space. Small, stealthy platforms that could disable ships, interrupt communications, and cause chaos throughout the Empire's carefully controlled territory. "They're not just defending Earth anymore," Dax explained. "They've built a web that covers our entire civilization. While we watched their planet, they were surrounding us." Council Leader Marcus leaned forward. "What are our options?" "We have 3 choices," Dax said, bringing up a tactical display. "First, we could attack. But their quantum weapons would shut down our ships before we got close to Earth, and their automated platforms would paralyze transport across the Empire." The display changed, showing trade routes and communication lines. "Second, we could try to find and destroy their monitoring stations and defense platforms, but they've had decades to hide them. We'd never find them all." "And the third option?" someone asked. "We accept their terms," Dax said simply. "Recognize Earth as an independent power. Begin diplomatic relations as equals." General Rex slammed his fist down. "That would make us look weak. Other worlds would question our authority." "They already are," Science Director Lisa said quietly. She activated a new display showing reports from various Imperial worlds. "News of Earth's resistance is spreading. Several systems are already asking about Earth's defensive technology." Dax nodded. "Earth isn't trying to destroy the Empire. They're showing other worlds that independence is possible, that there are alternatives to Imperial control. How many other civilizations might have similar hidden capabilities?" Council Leader Marcus wondered aloud. How many others might Earth have helped? The question hung in the air. Earth had proven that a civilization could develop in completely unexpected ways. Who knew what other surprises lurked in the seemingly peaceful worlds of the Empire? "We need to decide now," Dax said, checking another alert. "Earth's representatives are waiting for our answer. And our scans show they're powering up more defensive systems. They're ready for whatever we choose." The council members looked at each other. Centuries of Imperial tradition said they should crush any resistance to their rule. But Earth had changed the rules. They couldn't fight an enemy that had spent generations preparing for exactly that fight. "Let me reach out to their leaders," Dax suggested. "Perhaps we can find a way to present this as a mutual agreement. Save face while avoiding a costly conflict." Council Leader Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. "Make it happen, High Commander. If we must have an independent Earth, Let's at least make it look like it was our idea all along." As the transmission ended, Dax looked back at the image of Earth floating peacefully in space. The Empire had finally met a civilization that had outmaneuvered them completely. Now they just had to figure out how to live with that fact. 1 month after the Empire's decision, Admiral Thomas Reed watched the sunrise from the newly built Earth Imperial Diplomatic Center in Geneva. The morning light reflected off the building's crystal walls, a design that blended Earth architecture with Imperial style. It was a symbol of the new relationship between the two civilizations. High Commander Dax stood beside him, both of them waiting for the day's meetings to begin. Through the windows, they could see ships from both civilizations moving peacefully through the sky. "Your defense platforms are being deactivated," Dax asked, breaking the comfortable silence. Reed nodded. "Some of them. We're keeping enough active to maintain our independence, but we're showing good faith. Your ships can now travel through certain sectors without being monitored." "Generous of you," Dax said with a slight smile. "Though we both know you probably have other systems we haven't discovered yet. Just as we both know the Empire probably has secrets we haven't uncovered," Reed replied. "The difference is, now we can be honest about our suspicions." They walked together into the main conference room. The walls displayed real-time images from across human and Imperial space. Trade routes were being established, cultural exchanges were beginning, and fear was slowly being replaced by curiosity. "The Empire has never had a relationship like this," Dax admitted, watching the displays. "We've always been the ones in control. Being equals, it's new for us." Reed touched a control panel, bringing up images of joint scientific projects. "That's why it's working. We're both learning from each other. Your faster-than-light technology is more advanced than ours. Our quantum mechanics theories are beyond yours. Together, we're both becoming stronger." The room filled with delegates from both civilizations. Scientists, diplomats, and military officers sat together, sharing ideas and plans. On one screen, an Imperial ship was being fitted with Earth's quantum shielding technology. On another, human scientists studied Imperial star maps. "Some in the Empire still think we should have fought," Dax said quietly. "They say showing weakness will lead to our downfall. And some on Earth think we should have kept all our advantages secret," Reed answered. "They say trusting the Empire will lead to our destruction. What do you think?" Reed watched as a young human scientist excitedly explained a new theory to an Imperial engineer. "I think we've both learned something important. The Empire learned that true strength doesn't always come from power, and Earth learned that isolation, while it made us strong, also held us back in some ways." Dax nodded thoughtfully. "My people have a saying, 'The strongest tree bends with the wind.' We have a similar one." Reed smiled. "The best defense is sometimes a good conversation." The morning meetings began, focusing on new trade agreements and joint defense protocols. Human ingenuity combined with Imperial resources was already producing remarkable results. Ships that could travel faster, defenses that were more effective, and technologies that neither civilization had dreamed of before. As Reed listened to the discussions, he felt proud of how far they'd come. Earth had shown that it was possible to remain independent while still being part of the larger galactic community. The Empire had learned that control wasn't the only path to stability. "You know," Dax said during a break, "when I first learned about Earth's preparations and hidden strength, I thought your people were paranoid. And now I think you were wise, but also brave enough to offer friendship once you'd proven your strength." Reed looked out at the peaceful sky, where ships from both civilizations flew together. "That's humanity for you. We prepare for the worst but hope for the best. And sometimes, like now, we get what we hoped for." The sun climbed higher over the new Earth Imperial Diplomatic Center, lighting up a future that neither civilization had expected, but both had come to welcome. Earth had kept its independence, the Empire had gained a powerful ally, and the galaxy had learned that peace was possible even between the most unlikely partners.